Hey guys, what is up? Today I come to you with my weekly review of Fukumenkei Noise, or the Anonymous Noise, and we are at episode 2 this week. So for the first part of the episode, for majority of the episode actually, we were focusing on the background of Nino, Momo, and Yuzu, and then for the last half of the episode, they went back to present time. So for the majority of the first half, we have where we started off with Nino and Momo, knowing that Nino knew Momo before she knew Yuzu, before Momo decided to leave, and the reason behind that I'll get into in just a bit. So my guess is Nino and Momo knew each other around the ages of say 4 and 5, and they were practically inseparable, and they were next door neighbors. So they always spent every day together. They went to school together, they came back home together, and the song that, you know, when Nino hears it, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, that was a song that was special between both her and Momo, and also it's a catalyst for her to start screaming because it reminds her of when Momo left, and it brings in that heaviness and that sadness from that time 6 years ago till present time. So we also find out in the background, in the flashback, that in Momo's house it wasn't, you know, your normal household, because his parents constantly for years have been arguing, and there has been fights back and forth. And also it must be the reason, or it is the reason for him moving, because we hear rumors, especially you know the ladies of the neighborhood sometimes like to talk a little bit. It's saying possibly it's because they were in debt, so that's why they decided to move. And Nino, not knowing exactly the reason for why they're leaving, but it could be the possibility because the family was in such debt, and that's the reason for their arguing and such. That's why Momo had to leave, and that happened during the time they were in 4th grade. But just before he left, and I'm guessing he left the day after the festival, the day of the festival that he and Nino went to, and he was telling her, because she had doubts about singing, because people like to say that she was a nuisance. Even her parents said her singing was annoying at times, and she felt like, do I need to continue singing if it's going to bother so much people? Momo gave her that push, telling her that your singing is not troublesome, and that if there was one day that we were no longer able to see each other, if you continue to sing, there may be a possibility that we'll be able to reach out to each other. So he knew he was going to leave, but he shrouded it in where it's like, you know, it's nothing of a big deal. So Nino never took it as seriously at that time, not knowing possibly the next day Momo will be nowhere to be found. So for her, knowing that Momo, there's a possibility that Momo will never come back and she'll never be able to see him, made her start wearing the mask. It was to help her to stop from screaming. So she even does it even till now, is because when she thinks back on her childhood and how Momo was no longer involved in her life, and the fact that the possibility of him never coming back, it would cause her to scream, because it causes her so much grief and sadness to know that the person that she loved, her first love, will never return back to her. And that led her to meeting Yuzu when she went to the beach, the same beach that she and Momo went to for the festival. She saw where Yuzu was composing music on the sand, and instantly, despite her wearing the mask and thinking that she will no longer be able to sing, she starts singing the melody that Yuzu has created, and Yuzu is in awe of her voice. So, you know, they always meet up every Wednesday, and they start to create a bond with each other. But of course, he come to realize that Momo is actually a guy, because initially he thought he was a girl, and he grew jealous from that time, because Momo has long since captured Nino's heart, and he's been trying for as long as he could to make Nino like him back. Of course, he as well left Nino's life, as we know of, until current time, and his last message to her before meeting her 6 years later was composing a melody on the song on the sand, and telling her bye bye Alice. And he was the one, of course, who created the nickname for her, Alice. You would have thought Momo did, but it was actually Yuzu. Now, to get into the present time, what was interesting was knowing that Mio didn't go to the concert that they had, and instead had Nino fill in her role. and how in no hurry this band that everybody is just so fascinated with, and it's the biggest band that's happening in Japan. My guess is, and the way how they, try to explain it, is that she was playing Alice in that band. If Alice is that lead singer's name, of course, and she says she's done filling in the role of Alice because they found Alice, which is Nino. So my guess is because the guy she was speaking to looked like some guy that's involved in the music industry, so she was actually the person playing Alice or filling in the role of Alice until they found who she really was. And once they find her, she would drop down from her position. And I found that really interesting, and I want to see what's going to happen in next week's episode from now on, if they're going to actually tell Nino that, she's going to be the new lead singer of In No Hurry, and in that way will her singing now is getting much more of a broader audience. Will it be actually able to reach Momo and allow him to meet up with her once again, despite at the expense of Yuzu's feelings? Because he even says he prays to God that Yuzu and Momo and Nino never meet up ever again, so that she will eventually get over her love for him. So you kind of feel sorry for Yuzu at the end of the episode. But if you read enough shoujo or you watch enough shoujo anime, it's usually the first guy or the first person the heroine meets up that, gets the girl. So love at first sight always wins within these romance series. So if you guys saw this week's episode of Fukumenkei Noise or the Anonymous Noise, do drop a comment down below on how you felt about this week's episode. What are your hopes for next week's episode? And the links are in the description box as always. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!